Tashidale, we have now the last section, the section for those of lesser faculty in Yeshe Lama. So that will conclude our class. I also have some remarks that I would like to share with you as well, some of my own and some from some other people as a way of kind of concluding this course and this section of our advanced studies as well. So beginning on page 199 with for those of lesser faculty. The third general topic is the teaching on how to release the breath in the natural Nirmanakaya pure realm for those of lesser faculties. Despite having directly encountered clear light in this way, there are those who squander their human life in a state of leisure, grow old, and fail to internalize practice, are never under guidance of a precious guru while engaged on the path, still consider their own point of view superior to others, and experience nothing other than mental elation. So he's saying here that we can get trapped in these other kinds of preoccupations. Such individuals will receive no signs of progress on the path or any increase in the visions, since their faculties are inferior. Even though claiming to practice the lineage of great perfection, the individual has not attained the level of great perfection, so there is limited potential. So we're talking here, even though we're talking about those of lesser faculties, we are talking about people practicing the great perfection. But he's saying here some people really aren't quite ready for that, and as a result they're not going to do well. However, if there is still faith in the Dharma and a thin layer of non-virtue, and one still possesses the karma to be able to transform a dream into virtuous experience, then when arriving at the bardo of existence, where appearances are dreamlike, one will recognize them and think, I have died. So there's the opportunity through having done the practices that you're prepared enough, even though you may be of lesser faculties, to be able to recognize what's going on. With faith and fervent regard for the Guru as the foundation, by bringing the Guru to mind, the teachings received will be recalled. Since the bardo of the nature of phenomena was not previously recognized and the power of truth undiscovered, one will recognize that one is still wandering in the bardo of existence. At the moment of thinking, now I must go to the natural Nirmanakaya pure realm, through the blessings of the nature of phenomena, one will be miraculously born in the heart of a lotus flower, as it states in the conjunction of the sun and moon. By recalling the place of rebirth, all those of lesser faculties will exhale their breath in a natural Nirmanakaya pure realm. So meaning that we would be or appear in that realm. Thus, this oral instruction leaves nothing uncovered, is easily applied, and is endowed with great potential. In order to accomplish this, one must, in the present lifetime, have a yearning faith for the Guru, from whom one has received upadesha, coupled with directly observing one's own appearances during the daytime. Even when falling asleep at night, with intense concentration, one must think, I am dying, so I must recognize the stages of dissolution and go through the natural Nirmanakaya pure realm. So he's suggesting that when we go to sleep at night, that we think about that fact, and so that it helps prepare us for the process of dying. Then one will fall asleep envisioning the arrangement of the qualities of the Nirmanakaya realm. Between practice sessions, as mentioned earlier, it is essential to have developed the skill of training the consciousness that rides the winds. This heart advice is given to those who have fear towards samsara and the lower realms. The explanation of the qualities of the Nirmanakaya pure realms is as follows. In the great naturally rising awareness, it states, from here, in the eastern direction of this world system, is the pure realm known as manifest joy. In this Nirmanakaya pure realm dwells the Nirmanakaya Vajrasattva. In this place, where all the Sagatas have received sacred empowerment, the qualities of the celestial palace are boundless. Now, Vajrasattva is normally not thought of as a Nirmanakaya realm. He's thought of as a Sambhogakaya realm. So some of the language in this section of the text is a little bit difficult to follow in terms of the usual explanation. So my advice is just to take it as it is, accept it as it is, without trying to think it through too much. The palace itself is composed of precious crystal with 4 entranceways that possess jeweled staircases. Even the ground is made entirely of precious crystal. It is extremely pleasing and beautiful to behold. There are windows and skylights at the 4 entranceways through which the rays of sun strike the precious crystal, creating an unceasing array of 5-colored rainbow light prisms throughout the daytime. Not unlike what we get here a lot of times, where we have some crystals over there in the windows and the sun shines on them and does the same thing. Around the perimeter of the palace is a moat containing water with the 8 attributes of purity that has the power to cure the disease or illness of anyone who drinks it. Along the perimeter of the moat, the 8 lagoons with the many varieties of birds singing melodiously. Among them, the sovereign bird is the golden swan, joined by wild ducks, kati birds, parrots who speak human languages, cuckoos, cranes, wild pheasants, and the like. In total, there are some 80,000 classes of songbirds. The types of birds that are pleasing to behold are vultures, hoopoes, phoenixes, and the birds of the gods, whose voices sound like pealing bells. The vultures' bodies resemble golden vajras. Some are blue like turquoise, while some are white like a conch. Some are red like coral, others are green like emerald. Their charming, melodious songs are inconceivably wondrous. Encircling the periphery is an iron fence made of 7 precious jewels. In the center of all of this is the Dharma teaching dais made of 7 precious gems, complete with cushions. It is here where the Nirmanakaya Vajrasattva is seated. In the evening, he teaches the causal path, that would be the Mahayana Sutras, to an assembly of disciples, while at midnight he teaches the Dharma of outer secret mantra, which would be the Tantra class. In the early hours at dawn, he teaches the inner Tantra, and at high noon, he teaches the doctrine of unsurpassed resultant path of the great perfection. In the course of a day, there are 4 teaching sessions, and those in attendance are bodhisattvas who will definitely be liberated in the next lifetime. Their life expectancy is 550 years. A while. In this pure realm, the desire for food or drink is satisfied by the mere thought of it. Free of disease, it is a place of supreme bliss, and even if an illness does occur, it is dispelled by drinking the water of the 8 attributes. There are multitudes of flowers, which everyone is offering in great abundance to the Nirmanakaya. In the 4 corners of the palace are stupas made of pearls. Connecting these 4 are bells with hanging ringers linked together with latticework cords. When the breeze blows the cords, the various chimes of ringing bells can be heard. In the 4 directions are 4 banners made of various silks. When the breeze moves them, the flags emit a blend of luscious fragrances. The celestial palace is located to the east, about 500 miles above this earth, in a place where the bodhisattvas who are born there enjoy endowments equal to the 33rd level of the gods. This is a description of the Nirmanakaya pure realm of the eastern direction. Thus, likewise, the pure realms of the other 3 directions are understood to be similar, except in a few subtle differences in terms of arrangement, life expectancy, abundance, and so forth. So each of the 4 realms have these different but similar kinds of environments. Other epithets for the support and supported pure realms are mentioned in the great arrangement of Ati as follows. Endowed with glory, lotus arrangement, and perfectly complete activity are fully perfected realms of Ratnasambhava, Padmagawang as Hayagriva, and Amoghasiddhi and their retinues, whose cognitive-based obstructions have been cleansed. The colors are white, yellow, red, and green. And you notice the numbers of things mentioned here don't quite match up. So that's why we don't want to get too caught up in trying to analyze and the logic of all of it. Thus, and in the center of all these, is the conqueror, sovereign of form, which is Akshobhya, abiding in the aspect of the mandala of the wrathful deities as it states in the naturally arising. In the region of the space in front of these pure realms is the wrathful Namanikaya pure realm known as the great charnel ground of the blazing ring of fire. The celestial palace appears as follows. It is square and composed of skulls. The base is made of dried skulls. The walls of Sharari skulls. These are fresh or semi-fresh kinds of skulls that still have some flesh on them and so forth. The roof is composed of overturned skulls, complete with scalp and hair. The width and height of the palace are measureless. The nails are made of meteorites. The blood descends from the roof gutters. The sun and moon from the bases of the pillars. The capitals are makaras, various sea monsters. The beams are the 8 great gods. The beams supporting the cornice are the great supreme one, Rahula. In the daytime, the wind wails, and in the nighttime, the fires blaze. In the 4 directions of this celestial palace are the parasols of flayed humans. The 5 goddesses dance. The entire ground of the support is a turbulent ocean of blood. Within this palace is the conqueror, youthful, mighty warrior. Although his wisdom intent never wavers from enlightenment, he displays all the aspects of a wrathful Kaya. He is surrounded by countless dakinis and assemblies of wrathful deities. They include the dakini completely peaceful, the Brahman connect one, the Rishi youthful moonlight, and their retinues of dakinis. Ekajati and her 6 siblings, the 14 attendants, and the 58 female servants. In addition, there are countless dakinis in Ekajati's retinue, including 1 trillion attendants. That's a few. Members of the retinue have emanated from the conqueror's heart, include incomparable or inconceivable wrathful mandalas such as Vajrapani and countless humans such as Garib Dorje and others, turning the wheel of the resultant doctrine of the unsurpassed secret mantra for the retinue. All peaceful Namanikaya Bodhisattvas achieve liberation. All of the deities possess the expressions of wrath, and the celestial palace is immensely expansive. So this description is not unlike we see in other wrathful kinds of sadhanas and so forth, and the exact details I don't think are particularly important, but to get a sense of what the whole thing is like. Thus it is. The 5 pure realms where the great breath of liberation is taken are as follows. Given that this is naturally arranged from the blessings of the conqueror of Vajradhara, it is referred to as the natural Namanikaya pure realm. The cause for those of fortunate karma to perceive this directly is within the heart of all pervasive essence of the Sagatas. That is the entranceway of the precious, spontaneously present, radiant appearance of the ground, the 4 wisdoms such as mirror-like, and the rest. As with the Sambhogakaya, this has arisen as a natural clear light of the appearance of the path since beginningless time and is designated as east and other directions. However, one should not consider that this exists as an ordinary direction according to the common way of thinking. If one thinks that explanations in terms of distance contradict this, the answer is that in the distance is far beyond the nature of the phenomena of the 3 realms. And in general, you could say that about the whole thing, not just the distance aspect here, but the different qualities and characteristics that are being described are beyond our normal realms. This is the reason for the reference to direction. However, it is not to be taken literally. Similarly, although it is stated the wrathful mandala exists in the upper regions, since the assembly of the wrathful deities primordially abides in the palace of the cranium, that is where they arise. The palace of the cranium is right here, okay? Our own head. Furthermore, that which is called intrinsic nature refers to the intrinsic nature of abiding, which is an emanation, and the intrinsic nature of enumerations, for which there are two. This holds profound import. In the first case, this is as stated in the seed of secret conduct tantra. Within the appearance of the nature as it is, the kaya of the nature as it is arises, resembling oneself and one's reflection. So it looks remarkably like us. Thus, from the resultant Sambhogakaya, which is like the face, this Sambhogakaya of the nature of phenomena, like a reflection appearing in the mirror, arises as the path of the bardo perceived by all beings. Since this directly accomplishes the aim of the objects to be tamed, it is posited as the aspect of partial Sambhogakaya. In terms of the latter, the appearance of the transcendent 11th Bodhisattva ground of always light is such that all Bodhisattvas who are on the path hear the speech of the Buddha. But because they're cognitive-based obstructions, they are still unable to see the kaya. When they are able to see the kaya, the cognitive-based obstructions are fully exhausted. So it is asserted that they will then achieve Buddhahood. And this is the key point to be known by those who uphold the tenets of this lineage. These days, when the presence of the doctrine of the great perfection resembles the last rays at sunset, I have synthesized the essential points which illuminate the way of being led to the ground of the resultant spontaneous presence of the three kayas. If one possessing prajna truly aspires to comprehend the description of the intrinsic nature in its entirety, it can only be understood through the excellent speech of the Buddha, the words and syllables of which are superior and without any delusion. The secret nature of enlightened speech is the sum total of all inconceivable qualities, and the blessings of this word are undisputed. For a time in this land of Tibet, teachings like that of the great charioteer Nagarjuna, possessing the two qualities of protecting and guarding, as well as many ocean-like wisdom commentaries, excelled to the highest peak, leading all those who remained embodied to the citadel of great liberation. The chariot of the three categories of the wisdom commentaries and so forth are ultimately spontaneously present as a great treasury of the inexhaustible ornamental wheel of the enlightened body, speech, and mind qualities and activities of the victorious ones of the three times. Subsequently, when the king of all vehicles became threatened by the encroaching philosophical tenets of the unfortunate barbarians who resemble wild animals, in order to annihilate them with the weapons of logic and reasoning, the excellent definitive words of the seven precious jewels, those are the seven treasuries of Longchenpa, offered total protection, like the supreme fearless conduct of the Master Dharmakirti. Thus, I entrust this to all of my disciples. A follower of the exalted path, like the sun and the moon, whose intelligence is stainless, gives excellent teachings which hold the ultimate result of supremely vast qualities like an Udamwara flower. That's referred to as a flower in a fig, which actually is inside of the fruit, but symbolically what it refers to is something that's very rare or unseen. One who hears and fully understands this profound import will cherish it like a crown jewel of the Naga king's head. Such a person is a supreme vessel for the great perfection, a bodhisattva for whom rebirth in samsara has come to an end, so achieved enlightenment. Based on the happiness of the sorrow of this life's phenomena, it is unbearable to consider the next life's existence, like the flashing tongue of a cobra. In the extremely dense forest of self-fixation, the one who slumbers in ignorance will revolve on the wheel of existence wherever he goes. So we just keep going around in the circle of samsara. The one whose mind conceptualizes existence cannot hope to cross to the shore beyond the four rivers. This is a metaphor of a confluence of different rivers coming together into one, and it sometimes is used to refer to the Ganges. So the area of the Ganges, the lower and mid Ganges, were the areas where the Buddha did most of his teachings. Although the weight of many miseries is borne upon one's shoulder, jaded and without feeling, there is no commonality with the sacred guides. Lacking the Dharma eye of the 3 times, like a lotus, lacking the moon. So the lotus lacking the moon would be in the lotus, there's a kind of a disc, and so it would be lacking that disc, and the disc is what's considered to be the seat of the Buddha. So in this case, the lotus lacking that seat, even on a long trunk of glory and wealth, will support and provoke dormant tendencies that perpetuate samsara. Whoever comes to know the nature of this elephant and goes on to accomplish the precious Dharma will be best among humankind. There is no non-virtue that eclipses anger. Try to reverse it at the cost of your life. Since there is no practice harder than patience, that is the Bodhisattva path. By befriending the conduct of the 6 paramitas, such as non-conceptual prajna and the rest, it befits the great being to depart for an extremely peaceful forest. There, in an uninhabited place with a naturally formed cave in a forest of flowers where the sound of the cascading waterfall can be heard, a sense of renunciation is invoked from within. Well, you might say that going out into nature is a good way to do these practices. The birds and wild animals are harmless, like the place of a Brahma and the 4 supports. Those are the 4 immeasurables, or the bliss of the 4 immeasurables. May my body and mind abide in this way to accomplish the personal aim of actual awakening. Beings equal in number to the particles in the world system have concepts equal to the sand in the great oceans. So when we're stuck in the world system, we have all of these concepts and things that we're attached to, that we rely upon, and so forth. Likewise, the taming powers of the Dharma ocean are in harmony with this. By the blazing glory of my activity, bringing all beings, without exception, to maturity, having pleased the ocean of victorious ones, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may I effortlessly merge with the ocean of original inner space. Although this treatise was originally requested by the crazy one from Kong, holder of immeasurable qualities and other sublime teachers, since the time for this dissemination had not yet arrived, it was sealed in the expanse of the ocean of Dakinis. And I assume that label was a reference to himself there, a typical kind of pattern that we see at the end of these texts. Whenever an emanation of the female keeper of mantra, powerful Dakini guardian of immortality, Tseringma, proclaims the prophecy with the laughing sound of he, the time for this Dharma to benefit beings will have arrived. At the mountain of immortality, the learned scholar of the perfect qualities, Venerable Tenzin, upholder of the doctrine, offered a precious crystal mala of 108 beads and the golden flower to request this teaching. In the forest of Bodhi trees called Tsering Chong, this was written by one who totally relies upon the blessings of Padma, Rangjung Dorje Jigme Lingpa, so that exhausted wanderers struggling in the ocean of samsara can inhale the breath of freedom. So he's written this for us and our benefit so that we can achieve that. There are those who claim that when the wind moves the reflection of the moon in a pond, children think that the reflection is really the moon. Adults determine that it is not the moon moving, but rather the wind. They claim that the water moon doesn't really exist. Such a view does not exist in the Dharma teachings of the state of perfect awakening. Therefore, during the time of degenerate views, even though sentient beings are controlled by their minds, at the moment these teachings are encountered, the unscrupulous mental activity of perpetual mountain-like view of existence will collapse, and the interdependent existence of both the person and phenomena will be pacified classified in the inconceivable space of the great perfection. So we move from our ordinary way of viewing things into this view from the great perfection. During the time of the 5 degenerations, may there be the auspiciousness of never squandering the difficult to guard, enlightened activity of the victorious ones. Sarva Mangalam Zayantu Kyo Kyo Kyo. So it seals the end of this.